Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? This is Kyle and Mike from the Fantasy Phenom, and we are joined by a special guest today, Mr. Maurice Simmons from the DFS Sweatshop. Me and Maurice go way back, man. We used to kick it on Sports Swirl back in the day, but things have since changed, and now he's a guest on the Phenom. So, without further ado, I will let Mr. Maurice introduce himself and what he does and kind of his organization.
Welcome back to the Yo, it's pretty nice in here in the Phenom, man. I like it. I like what y'all done with the place, man. Yeah, man. Just like Carl, like you were saying, bro. Like we hooked up a long time ago. You gave me a stellar pick that won me a little bit of seed money to start this thing.
I remember that.
And yeah, man. And since then, man, we've been rolling, bro. And it's really good to be here, man. Glad to be involved. Want to show solidarity among all of the indie sites across YouTube, man, because we're the place where the regular common guy can come and get the truth about daily fantasy, man, what it really is, and it's awesome to be here, man. Very excited.
So Maurice, tell people how do they get hooked up with you if they wanted to do so.
What you can do is you can go check out our website, man. We just relaunched it about a week ago, and it is the DailyFantasySweatshop.com. Of course, I have a YouTube show that I do nightly. There's going to be a link in the description to those videos. And what it is, man, 50 cents a day is what you're going to give up. 2 punk-ass quarters, half a cup of coffee, whatever you want to call it. It's going to get you our cheat sheets, our rankings, exclusive access into our VIP Facebook group where you can talk to me and all of the other guys that are in there, man. And this is a very, very solid thing, very family oriented. And it also, and right now, if you come in today, I will send you some DFS Sweatshop swag if you come in today. Come today and I got you. So
there you go. Welcome to all of the Sweatshop members, of course, that are watching this video. If you guys are new to the channel, we're the Phenom. I think I can speak for Mike. I'll let him talk after, but I think we share a similar vision with Maurice, obviously. We all want to unite the common man, right? Not a lot of our members play max entries. They don't do a lot of lineups, don't put a lot of money in. None of us are professional DFS players. And so the goal of what we're doing is to give you guys honest feedback. You know who we're playing, why we like the picks. We're not going to try and lead you the wrong way. And, we're here to give you as much information as you can. As you see on the screen, this is the spreadsheet that we offer. And it has everything you can think of, advanced stats. We have a breakdown video as well on our YouTube page if you're interested in understanding how they work a little more in depth. We did a breakdown video of that as well. So
this is a lot of fun, guys. It's cool. We're bringing two families together. I feel like, Mo, I've been a fan for a long time. I know I rock with the sweatshop. I think it goes under. We don't say it enough, man. We keep it real. Like, we don't. Yeah, this is a hobby for us, but it's way more than that. This is what we do all day, every day. We try to bring it to you guys, just kind of what we feel, and I know that you guys can feel it too. Like, we're bringing it to you, and it's real stuff. It's not like we're bringing you stuff that we're just trying to put you on people and just kind of talking out of our ass, man. We really enjoy doing this.
Yeah, and by the way, if you guys are interested in signing up for our information, the link is in the description. You get all of this, all the sheets. You get to join our Slack group, which is very similar. Obviously, it's a communication app with different channels, and it's only $10 a month. So very similar process. But
yeah,
that's how you get started. So without further ado, man, let's jump in here. So we got Tampa Bay and Baltimore. This game is, I'm going to say it's almost certain to be postponed at this point, man. It could play. It's a very risky play because it is the at lock, so you're not going to have a lot of news. If it's delayed and they decide they don't want to play, you're kind of stuck. So, Mike, I know you liked Chris Archer, and I think, Maurice, you said you liked him as well. So, Mike, what are your thoughts on the game if it does play?
Yeah, I mentioned Chris Archer last time he went out. The stat line doesn't really indicate what happened in that game. He just had a rough fifth inning, and it had a lot to do with balls that should have been caught, and Miggy right bit in the middle of the whole inning. So If you look at his strikeout potential, and you look at playing the Orioles, who strike out a lot. I mean, generally I try to avoid Camden Yards with my pitcher, but if you look at the strikeout pitchers on this slate, I think he's one of the elite few. What do you think, Mo?
I kind of echo those sentiments, man. I mean, Chris Archer has great hair, and I like him. He's a guy that I really like. I was completely on him, but with the possibility of a rain out or a delay, going against those, you got to think the Baltimore Orioles bats. They're big ogres, man. They love to swing for the fences. It's a hitter's park, so it definitely would be a tough sell, Chris Archer against those guys. But man, I mean, I like him. I like him. If the game plays, I do like him. Just these guys strike out so much that I think he can give up a run or two, give up a couple of runs, and still make that back in the way of strikeouts. So he's a guy that I still like. I like Chris Archer.
Yeah, I can see it. I think Chris Archer is a pure GPP play. He's going to be either mows him down or he's going to just get lit up. You look at these K rates. I mean, he's above 9 in every situation. He only has one situation where he gives up more than a home run per 9, and that's in away games, which this does happen to be. But the only concern I can see is you look at this Baltimore lineup, man, and they're green across the board. Machado, Trumbo, Davis, all these guys have incredibly high WOBAs, amazing ISOs. I mean, Chris Davis has a 294 ISO. You talk about the threshold for above anything of 250 or above is excellent. Chris Davis is a 294, averages a home run every 11 at bats. I mean, literally 1 through 5, the most at bats a guy takes for a home run is Seth Smith at almost 22 at bats per home run. So there's just, like you mentioned, a ton of power in this lineup. And it is a hitter's ballpark, so I see some risk in this play. But if he's on, and they're not hitting him, strikeouts galore.
Yeah, I think there's some definite risk, like you said. But we also have been saying, if you got a guy that's got 10 strikeouts, giving up 3 runs, he's going to score more DraftKings points than a guy that, shuts out a team but only strikes out 2. But yeah, there's some definite risk. The bats, if you look at career numbers against Archer, there's some pretty significant StatCast numbers, and it can't be career numbers because they've only been doing StatCast for about 3 years. But some guys like Jonathan Scope, I looked up, he crushes the ball in 10 batted ball events in the last 3 years. He's crushing the ball as far as StatCast, and so probably someone, if I didn't look at StatCast, I wouldn't even be on. And then I think you can look at the stack on the other side here, this Tampa Bay stack.
Yep, against Ubaldo. Against Ubaldo.
I kind of like 5 through 8 if everybody's going to be on 1 through 4. I think Steven Souza Jr. is going to have a breakout season this year. Logan Morrison, obviously a platoon guy who's got good numbers against righties. Tim Beckham, his bats woke up, and then Shane Peterson's playing for a job with Weeks out. So, or not Weeks. Is it Weeks? Who's out?
I believe Weeks is out. Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's why he's in there. So I don't know. It's something I'm looking at down here at the bottom of the order. Generally, I don't like to do that, but it could be another cheap way to get exposure to Ubaldo that's under-owned.
Now, what about the lefties in this spot? You look at, Dickerson and Kiermaier,
right?
Maybe, Brad Miller. I mean, I think you can attack Ubaldo Jimenez definitely as a right-handed pitcher with the lefties in this order. I like them.
I think Dickerson and Logan Morrison are elite one-offs today, man. You talk about power, and sample sizes. They have plenty. So Corey Dickerson in 516 plate appearances on the road versus righties averages a 258 ISO. That's ridiculous. And then Logan Morrison in 456 plate appearances, a 233 ISO with 40% hard contact, a home run. Both these guys a home run every 17 at bats in this situation. You add that to a hitter's ballpark. I mean, everything. Yeah.
Most def.
Yeah, and I think I like Souza too. Again, with Morrison playing behind him, I don't know. I just think that he's on a good little stretch here.
Yep. So apparently this game has been upgraded, but it is still risky. So I would say if it does play, I don't look at the pitchers only because you see rain chances throughout, and if it delays at all in the middle of the game, those pitchers aren't coming back in.
Mm-hmm. Which does affect your stacks too, obviously.
True.
Most definitely, yeah.
All right, so we got Chicago at Pittsburgh. No rain threat here. We do have winds blowing in, however, from left field. So that could affect some righties a little bit. You got Brett Anderson on the hill. versus a lefty. He's a reverse split guy, actually. He struggles more versus lefties in terms of average and WOBA, but doesn't give up any home runs to left-handed bats. And then you have Chad Kuhl, who has shown some flashes. Not a big home run guy, but I don't know. What do you look at either of these lineups? We'll start with you, Mo. What are you looking at here?
Now, as far as pitching goes, I like Brett Anderson. The dude, I think he throws like a sinker, and it's a complete ground ball play. Like, and I don't mind playing those ground ball pitchers, especially in these situations where you've got wind coming in. Don't look for balls to sail too much anyway. Then when it comes to the Chicago Cubs order, I'm kind of looking at what everybody else is going to do because there's going to be so much exposure to cores, which I'm sure we're going to get to later, that there's a few guys for Chicago that I think we can take a look at. You look at Rizzo, who's been batting hot as hell lately. Also, if you want to take advantage of some of the left-handed bats against Cool, man, there's a couple of guys I really think you can take advantage of. Rizzo, I kind of like some of the cheaper guys. Maybe Jason Hayward at 3.7. That's a pretty good price point on him. So I think there's some merit to rostering some Chicago guys. And if you don't want to go all in on course.
Yeah, man, you said it right there. I think the two guys I'm looking at as well is Rizzo and Hayward. Hayward's only 3,400 on DraftKings now, and that's he's not a great play, but like you said, I think if you're looking at ownership game, the lefty in this lineup, Chad Kuhl doesn't really scare me. It's a bit of a pitcher's park, but his bat's been awoken a bit. 2 home runs in his last 3 games for Hayward in Cincinnati. And then, like you said, Brett Anderson, the sinker baller, he does keep the ball on the ground. So, yeah, it makes for a good play, I think. I worry about his upside as far as strikeouts, but I think if you're looking in the middle of pricing here, there's really not much to love,
Right.
So it could be a good little pivot off of Vargas.
Yeah, I don't see Brett Anderson being high owned at all. I don't see either of these pitchers being high owned. As far as a stack here, I don't think I do a full stack on Chicago. I see a 2-man like you guys are talking about. And I'm definitely not stacking Pittsburgh, but I do see some elite one-offs, and that is Andrew McCutchen and David Freese. Andrew McCutchen, I think, is probably one of the best one-offs you can get today in terms of... Actually, no, I'm going to take that back because there's the wind blowing in, and Brett Anderson is a ground ball pitcher. But McCutchen's numbers are ridiculous versus lefties. 421 WOBA, 247 ISO. I mean, those are amazing. And then David Freese, a known lefty killer. So I can look there. I don't think I stack Pittsburgh like I mentioned, but definitely some intriguing plays. This game in itself, I think, is going to be relatively low owned because of some of the other games.
Yeah, look at that fly ball percentage for Brett Anderson. It's really low.
Average is 35%.
So yeah, I think that's. I don't know why I don't think I'm going to go to Pittsburgh because of that. Just because of that.
Yeah.
Look for a home run. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm at. Because if you're paying up 4.5 for McCutchen, or you're looking at maybe looking at David Freese at 3.2, which I think is doable because David Freese isn't he pretty good with hard contact, like getting the ball through the shifts, through the gaps.
40% hard contact.
He's been having a great year.
Yeah, 40% hard contact. So I'm all over that.
He's been having a great year. Polanco is having a terrible start to the year.
Oh my God.
Dude, I was high on Polanco. He had a really nice year last year, but he has struggled. Cincinnati and Milwaukee. All right, you want to talk about chalk? You have chalk all over here. Amir Garrett is going to be the chalk on FanDuel today. I think that's what it sounds like. I think Vargas is in play as well for that chalk. Personally, I'd take Amir Garrett for the strikeout potential. I'll say this again and again, man. Target strikeouts always, and this Brewers team strikes out a ton. They're hit or miss. If they connect, that ball's flying out. But if they don't, they're striking out. So you got some elite guys on this Brewer team in terms of power versus Amir Garrett. Personally, I was all on him, but because I'm a tournament player, I find myself actually fading him in all my lines right now.
Wow.
I don't have any Amir Garrett at all.
I'm thinking that Garrett will be higher owned on DraftKings when you need 2 pitchers. What do you think, Mo?
I agree with that. I agree.
I think,
especially with the Brewers being like the 7th ranked team in swinging strike percentage, like they try to murder the ball, and that results in a lot of swinging strikes. So I think people know that, man, and he's going to be very highly owned on DraftKings, especially because the two pitchers, like Money Mike was saying.
Yeah, just to resonate with that sentiment, with some stats, Milwaukee, number one in the league of strikeout percentage at 27.6. They're also number one in the league in ISO. So, by far, at almost 0.22, I think. So that's pretty much exactly what you just said, Maurice. They're swinging for the fences, and they really don't even have a lot of doubles on the year. So they're just hitting the ball out of the ballpark, or they're not hitting the ball at all. So. In Miller Park against this team is number one in a lot of offensive categories to start the season. I think it's a worthy fade if he's going to be high owned.
In a tournament, I think he's going to be high owned in cash on both sides, and so you got to make a decision whether to fade that. One thing we were talking about before the show that I want to hit on is, and it's a strategy that's won me quite a bit of money this baseball season, is stacking against the chalk. Now, I'm not going to advocate here for a Brewers stack because I do think Amir Garrett is a great pitcher. Mm-hmm. But if this happens, and it happened the other day, or you remember when John Lackey was super high owned, he was like 55% in double ups. I forget the team he played, but I stacked that team, didn't have John Lackey, and so not only did half the field get terrible points from a pitcher, but I was ahead of them with the stack. It's an extreme tournament play, but it's something I really like to do. I'm not doing it today, but if you want to talk from a tournament perspective,
we gotta call that something. That needs to be called something. That is like the double dip. Like not only are you fading, the chalk pitcher that's the ace on the slate, but you fucking attack him with a stack. That was genius, bro. We got that. That needs to be called something. Give us a name for that.
Should.
The double dip. I kind of like that. The double dip.
Yeah, because I keep calling it like double down, like in blackjack, but. Yeah, I think that makes a lot more sense to double dip because you're just trying to get into that ownership, get into that money. Now, Gary, he's a big curveball guy. I mean, I don't know if you watched that Baltimore game, but his curveball was like pinpoint control, man. Like I don't even know if he's walked a guy this year. I'm sure he has, but it's just an exaggeration. This guy's having some elite control right now. So. Anybody on this Miller lineup to me, Braun stands out as the most accomplished hitter if this guy's got a nasty curve as his out pitch to maybe see that arm angle and avoid it. I don't know. For that reason, if he's that on, it makes me not really want to stack against him, but I think I could go for Braun. But Braun's like 54 on DraftKings right now. It's just
what's he on FanDuel?
Tough to get to.
Let me see. I didn't roster him. Like I said, I'm not stacking against this game personally today, but it's a tournament strategy I love to do. He's only 4,100 on FanDuel. Adam Eaton, Charlie Blackmon, Mike Trout, and Bryce Harper are all more expensive.
Yeah, that's about the same here. No, Trout's under him, but yeah, it's about the same. But still, 54 is it's a lot of money.
Now, talking the reverse, though, Matt Garza is a guy, I think he's going to get blown up, man. I hate Matt Garza as a pitcher. He doesn't strike out anyone, gives up home runs, gives up extra base hits. He's just, I don't know. He had like 1 or 2 good years. Joey Votto, I think, if you do a Cincy stack, I think he's got to be a worthy candidate in there. I love Duval. I love Schebler. And I love Suarez, man. And even if you want to, oh, damn it, no. Damn it, I thought Tucker Barnhart was starting. That was my punt catcher. Damn it, because he hits lefty. But I think that Votto, Duval, Suarez, Schebler, if you get that in there, or if you want to fade Votto for another first baseman, I still love Duval, Suarez, and Schebler.
I definitely agree, man. I think, you can go anywhere from 1 through 6 with the Cincinnati Reds roster today against Matt Garza, and I don't think I'm not like a big BVP guy. I said the crazy word BVP. People hate BVP. But Votto, bro, I think Votto has like an amazing BVP against Matt Garza, and he just crushes righties.
Let's see, I'm
over.
Yeah, 12 for 34, 353 average, 2 home runs, no doubles surprisingly. So I mean, there is that. He has 10 hits total, only 2 are home runs, the rest are singles. So if you want to look at that from a fantasy perspective, singles are obviously worthless in fantasy.
Yeah, I have the StatCast BVP pulled up as well. So it shows, exit velocity, and then, so yeah, I see that 353 with 2 home runs. It's got a 95 average exit velocity, which is well above average. So it's not like he's been getting cheated as well in that BVP.
So
yeah, I like, especially like 3 through 5 there. I think obviously the speed guys setting the table, brings some upside into that stack. But I definitely like 3 through 5. They've been hot as anybody.
yeah,
And they're in Miller Park.
And for those of you guys, again, if you're new to the channel, and you see this red on the sheets here, these are power numbers. So these stats, DFS, at least our outlook on it is it's centered around the home run, right? A home run, as any of you guys have played baseball know, that you'll either jump or drop like a goddamn stone in with a home run. And so these numbers here are reflective of home runs and extra bases. So the reason you'll see Billy Hamilton red is we all know he's not a extra base type player. The occasional double, but other than that, really not much. So you got to kind of look a little deeper into the stats when you're looking at these sheets. So him and Jose Peraza, we know that they're get on, steal base type guys. The problem with them, obviously, is do they get on? You can't steal first base.
Yeah, how's good is Garza against the pickoff? Because Billy Hamilton is fast as fuck, bro.
Yeah, he's the third base before you even know it. Garza.
I don't have stats on it, but
yeah, I mean, I don't think it really matters with Hamilton. I just feel like he gets on base. They could try. I mean,
yeah. I like Billy Hamilton.
They're both real quick. Him and Peraza, it's fun to watch. The only other guy from this game, Pena. Any love for him? He moved up in the order now. Because he's batting like damn near 500 on the season.
I can get behind that.
I think Grandal is only 3,200, only $100 more. So I think a lot of people will be on Grandal for only $100 more. Trying to fill that stack. So perhaps Pena could be a good play.
Bro, I'm so happy right now.
Now that you mention it, if I'm in a spot where I love a lineup and I'm trying to get the Grandal, and you always have that lazy ass $100 left there that you're over by 100, or you'd have the perfect lineup. What you think is the perfect lineup? I would definitely rock with Manny Pena in that spot. Yeah, that was a good call. I like that.
Yeah.
Dude, so I'm so happy right now, man. I just seen that Chris Jimenez is starting for Minnesota. Moving to this next game, Minnesota, Texas. You have two shitty pitchers, Phil Hughes and Martin Perez, man. I have preached this all year. My favorite two punt catchers, and they're going to remain this way, is Chris Jimenez versus a lefty, and what's that other guy's name? Damn it. I know.
Barnhart?
No.
You just talked about Barnhart.
Barnhart. What's his name? I know who it is, too. Let me see if he's on the thing.
Who does he play for? Jet Bandy?
Nope. Fuck. Theo, remind me who it is. Jimenez.
Montero?
How about Aviles?
Nope, not him either. Fuck, man. It's backup for Texas. Oh, Robinson Chirinos. That's him.
Chirinos,
yeah.
Oh, Chirinos, yeah.
Those two, dude. Those are my two favorite punt catchers because they destroy lefties, man. And they're literally platoon guys. And so, look at these numbers. A 396 ISO, or WOBA, 314 ISO. To remind you, 250 is the excellent threshold. He has a 314 ISO. Ridiculous.
Yep.
And he's 2,100.
I'm looking for Jimenez.
He's 2,100 on FanDuel. I'm all over that, man. So, yeah.
I'm trying to find him on DraftKings here for some price. 3,200.
Is that
yeah,
cheap?
that's like I said, that's the same price as Grandal, $100 more than Pena. So that could be another way to pivot. Exactly. We just talked about everybody trying to fill that Dodger stack with Grandal, and I mean, I do like obviously the lefty, or he's a switch hitter, but against Kane, obviously, I think people will be on that. But like you said, Jimenez obviously a hitter's park.
Yeah.
Hitter's park for sure. But yeah, Chirinos, man, I think he's got 4 home runs already.
That's what I'm saying.
His price is now up to 3,400.
I wish he was playing today, but yeah.
Yeah, because they got Lucroy in for thing. But if you're chalk dodging, man, I definitely think Chris Jimenez is somebody you can take a look at. I like that.
I agree.
Nobody's going to be on him, I'm telling you. So Miguel Sano, I'm not sure if he's going to. I believe he's playing today. He was handed a suspension, but it does look like he is going to appeal. So I think he'll be in the lineup. I think a Minnesota stack is in play, and I think the reverse, man. I mean, you look at all this green right here. Green equals money in DFS, and Texas has a lot of green on it. Phil Hughes gives up home runs, fly balls, doesn't strike out a ton of guys. I think there's a lot to like in this game. And I think it's a perfect pivot from the Coors game.
And that's what we've got to find, man. That's what tonight's slate for me is going to be about. Like, how can I get comparable Coors numbers without actually going and rostering completely all through Coors and then having shit pitching. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they say is about.
Yeah, I think in Texas against Phil Hughes is about as best we're gonna get. Dude, guy gives up the long ball his whole career. So I totally agree. I like a lot here. I mean, look at what Gallo's been doing. This matchup will suit him pretty well. I think you can even try and I could get behind Andrews, Odor. I mean, I would probably rather go Mazzaro over Odor if I wasn't stacking.
I like Mazzaro more.
But I think both sides too. I think I could go Jorge Polanco on the other side at shortstop instead of Andrews.
Yep, that is
save some money.
For sure. He is playing. Yeah, I already know Mo loves Mazzaro, so.
And I was about to say, and not stats related, but this dude has the most beautiful swing, bro. I'm telling you,
it is.
It looks like it looks like golf almost the way he swings the bat, man. He digs them out. I love Mazzaro in the spot, man. I love him.
Yeah,
I'm
all over a Texas stack, man. I got Mazzara, Odor. I can play Gallo. I can play. I like Andrews too, man. Andrews. So again, Andrews is not a power guy, but he can get on base. He can steal some bases, and you put him right between Odor and Gallo. I mean, plenty of opportunity right there.
Yeah, I agree, and we have to ask thoughts on Lucroy. I mean, obviously one of the highest priced catchers in the slate. He's not been hitting well. They dropped him down to 8 now.
Cold as fuck.
Yeah, he's not been playing well, but I mean, do you find yourself intrigued by completing that stack? Because I think I did. I was.
I do. He's like Posey South. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's always sitting there at the catcher spot. You know he has elite power. You know you can take advantage in some spots against opposite-handed pitchers because he does play well against lefties. But man, there's just so much love I got for 3K catchers that I don't think I can get to LaCroix in the spot.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, LaCroix's not even on my radar, man. So I think I attack Hughes more than I attack Perez for sure. But that doesn't mean I roster Perez, man. The guy doesn't strike out anybody, so don't look there.
I've been trying to get to Dozier as my one-off at second base in this lineup.
That's a good play.
Right.
That's a good play.
Right.
So, any other thoughts on this before I move on?
I think that's it, man.
It's a 9.5 point total, though. So
yeah, there's runs. There's runs here.
Yeah, runs.
And it's damn near 75 degrees in Texas at 7 p.m. You know what I mean? So when you're talking about April game with 2 pitchers that give up the home run,
yeah,
it's about the best you're gonna get as close to Coors, like we were saying.
So we got another, like I said, chalk man right here. Jason Vargas and Miguel Gonzalez. Jason Vargas has somehow found something because he's never been a great pitcher, and all of a sudden he's the Rich Hill of this season, man.
Right.
Maybe he went to Korea and took some of that Korean medicine that Thames took. I don't know, but
so that ancient secret.
But
it's true, man.
There's a lot to like. I understand why he's chalk, man. Chicago is not hitting for shit. They strike out a ton. It's an offense you can definitely target. And then Miguel Gonzalez against a Kansas City team that hasn't exactly done much either. So, what are you looking at, Mike?
So just bring some numbers into this game, just because both of these teams have been awful at hitting. Hard contact rate to start this season, the Royals and the White Sox are the 2 worst teams in baseball, at around 25% hard contact. Everything is kind of pointing toward Vargas having another one, but it doesn't make sense. Dude, like you said, 34 years old, came off Tommy John midway through last year, and is just, I don't know what's going on, right? So, I mean, the White Sox, they are bottom 5 team in ISO. They are a top 5 team in strikeout percentage. So it's like everything kind of points to playing Vargas today as far as numbers.
What do you think, Mo?
I definitely agree, man. The one thing that's kind of got me on him is the fact that he's still, he's still relatively affordable. At 8K, you get this guy, he goes out, he strikes out a ton, has a really good game, you don't have advantage of it, it's really going to hurt you in some spots. Now, he's going to be so high owned that if he doesn't play very well, you still can make up the difference in other spots. So if this guy was, one of those 10K above guys, and I would definitely look at the fade, but just for the simple fact that I still can get what I want and remain with the rest of the field at 8K is going to have me taking quite a few shots at him in my lineups.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, I agree too. And you're looking at okay, so we talked about the double dip here. So we're fading Vargas. It's like you kind of have to twist my arm to play somebody as far as a double dip. Maybe Avisail Garcia, he'd be the one guy I'm thinking about, So that just kind of is even more of a sign. I don't even want to double dip against this dude. So maybe I just rob the chalk, especially on DraftKings. You got two pitchers. Maybe you're trying to find your ownership pivot on your other guy. And like Mo said, even if he hovers around 15 to 20 today with the ownership, it won't kill you.
Yeah, I'm the only guy I look at, like you said, maybe I was looking at Soto as a punt play, but maybe Avisail Garcia just because he's had a good start to the year. But this White Sox team does not intrigue me at all. There's no one I want to play on that team.
Yep, Abreu's down. Frazier's coming back from the flu. So those three righties there, 4 through 6, could be sneaky against. You look at what he does versus righties. I mean, I guess it's nothing crazy, but still, I mean, this dude has been a fly ball pitcher his whole career. It's 0.79, and then he's coming in this year at a 1.7 ground ball to fly ball rate. So it's not. It could be fluky here. I mean, his stats this year do not match his career numbers at all.
Yeah, so we talk about regression to the mean. It could be coming, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to talk you off him because just for the simple fact of the team he's facing.
Exactly.
Right.
Not this one. Maybe next one.
I do that from time to time. There's going to be times when I'm going to play. I'm going to hate a team's bats more than I love the opposing pitcher, so I'm going to play the opposing pitcher. And there's going to be times when I love the opposing pitcher way more than I hate the team's bats, but I'm still going to play the pitcher. And in this spot, I'm just going to play the pitcher. I'm not going to get too cute.
Yeah. All right, the game that everybody is going to be on, Washington and Colorado. I mean, look at these implied runs for Colorado now. So this dude right here, Jacob Turner, career journeyman. Corey loves him. He was a project in the Detroit Tiger system. And if I saw this correctly, he has an ERA of 154. That is not 1.54. That is 154.
Ouch.
If I saw that correctly, God damn it. That's awful.
What does he do? Catch a mutton jacks on him or something? What the fuck?
No, he must. That's like giving up a grand slam before even getting an out. And then them just being like, all right, man, this was a good try, but you're done for the day.
That's like Jeremy Guthrie, his first start of the year, man. Do you remember that? Do you remember that versus Philly?
Yeah, same with Liriano. Remember that one?
Fuck.
That was pretty bad,
everyone
too.
remembers that. The chalk of the day, Liriano.
Yeah, so
I mean,
how about Jacob Turner?
He's blood red. I mean, hard contact, a high home run to 9, high WOBA, high OBP, high average. I mean, the dude's just a bad pitcher. So a Colorado stack's definitely in play. Bryce Harper's out. That's the big news from Washington. Trey Turner's back in the leadoff spot. Then you got Eaton, Rendon, Murphy. Tyler Anderson's a good pitcher, man. I don't think people give this Colorado Rockies rotation enough credit, and I don't think they ever will because they pitch in cores. I legitimately think, and Mo, I don't know how much you watch the Rockies, but I think this is their best rotation they've had in years. I think this is better than the one they had when they went to the World Series.
I agree. Especially with some of the younger arms they got in there too, like Sensatella and guys like that. I like this rotation. And Jacob Turner is fascinating because one of the sites that I had him pulled up, it has the pricing after the name, and it said 0. So I'm looking for him on FanDuel for 0, so I can get a free guy.
Yeah,
it's not a thing. You can't even get him anywhere.
He's nowhere.
I mean, it is somewhat of a sale in the sense that you can roster against him. So
yeah.
It's just how do you do that? How do you do that and not play Amir Garrett today on DraftKings. I don't really know how you really get multiple guys in this Colorado lineup. I think I'm trying to pick one, and I think I always want to pick Arenado, but Turner's a lefty, right?
No, Turner's a righty.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, he's a righty, yeah.
And
So,
we know
yeah,
Arenado kills righties.
Yeah, exactly. So I generally always want to. I think Blackman would be the other guy I think I would want. But I think this Blackman, Cargo, Parra, too. You can get all three of these lefty outfielders if you can, and do that and go there,
Well, I made a stand when it came to Coors, man, especially on the Rocky side, where Cargo is my guy.
Is your guy, right?
Cargo is my guy. I'm on Cargo.
I mean, he's a great
My favorite
spot.
play from
He's batting cleanup. I mean, he's got the best numbers. I mean, look at the WOBA at home versus righties. 436, a 327 ISO. I mean, those are elite.
Yeah, I can totally get behind that. He's middle cleanup hitter. Yeah, I'm in there.
I managed to put together a little stack. I had Cargo and Blackman together, just a two-man. I ended up getting away from it only because I wanted to roster Arizona, which we'll get there. But I can get behind it, man. If you can fit Blackman, Arenado, Gonzalez, and here, dude, I don't think anybody is going to be on Gerardo Parra today. And I love Gerardo Parra. He's batting 6. I mean, that's not a bad spot for him. He's that forgotten guy in this stack today, and I think he's a good play. I still like Trevor Story at 7. I can go with a two-man of Parra and Story, and then you can still punt Walters. So a sneaky stack from this Colorado game that's a lot cheaper is Parra, Story, and Walters.
Definitely. And that's toward the back of the order as well, too, right?
Yep, 6, 7, 8.
Yep.
And if you wanted to, you can even, if you wanted to pay up, go to Blackman. So go 6, 7, 8, and 1. Because Anderson, if anyone gets on, he's just going to bunt him over, and then you got Blackman coming up with a guy at second or third.
Right.
And that's a stack that not a lot of people do. It's an extreme contrarian stack that I don't think is talked about enough. Is stacking the wraparound. Not a lot of guys. People hate stacking a 7-8 guy. And okay, so this is a strategy that I thought about, and I haven't talked about it with much people. But what are your guys' thoughts, especially on a slate type today where you have a lot of high-priced guys in Coors? So you're looking for punts. What do you think about punting an 8-hitter in the National League? He's almost guaranteed to get points because there's a pitcher behind him. So oftentimes, if there's an open base, he's getting walked. He's getting pitched around. If he does get on, he's getting bunted over and he's in running scoring position. They're always cheap. What are your guys' thoughts on that? I think that could be a strategy. I haven't tried it. It's just something I thought about. But what do you think about
Kyle,
that?
you sneaky motherfucker. That is the backdoor stack. I like that. That makes all the sense in the world, bro. It makes all the sense in the world.
I mean, how often do we see guys? I mean, we see Bryce Harper at 4K get 0, right? You talk about consistent points, even though they're little. You're just punting a guy to get the high priced guys. Why not take the damn near minimum salary 8 place hitter that's going to get on base, potentially get in scoring position, and then you got the top of the order coming back around?
Yeah. I think something I did a lot last year, but I usually only did it in the American League. I didn't really try to mess with the 8-hole hitter, but it makes sense. I mean, you want to generally pitch around that guy, right,
That's what I'm saying,
get to the pitcher.
Yep.
So,
and if they walk him or whatever, you know what I mean? I'm just thinking about it. I'm going to try it in a couple lineups, cheap entries. I just want to see what the points total looks like for him. But it's a strategy I'm going to try out. I'll let you guys know how it goes.
Willie, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
What do you guys think about the Washington stack now that there's no Bryce? Where are you looking there?
Sorry, you went all Optimus Prime on me. What happened?
What are your thoughts on a Washington stack? Where do you look now without Bryce? I mean, obviously he was the heart of that stack.
Yeah. Zimmerman as a one-off. I think Worth, they were saying that they've been taking him out late in games for his defense or something, so I don't know that you really want Worth for 3 at-bats. I don't know.
What do you think, Mo?
Turner's not with these numbers.
Bro, it's like taking the engine out of a beautiful car, man. Without Bryce in there, a guy that can, score the guys around him and get those extra base hits. Woba out of this world right now.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be hard for me to roster guys around here.
I gotta talk about that. So we're in Slack today. Tommy Evans, he brings us up. He's like, hey, because we were talking about Washington killing lefties, and he's like, oh, no one really has good ISOs or WOBAs, and Theo's like, nah, dude, Bryce Harper has a 700 WOBA versus lefties this year, and so
isn't it like 10 at bats though? I saw that yesterday on the game.
It's only 14 plate appearances, but still. So check this out. So
okay.
Tommy's on Fantasy Labs, and he's looking, and it shows a WOBA of 309, and I'm like, how does that make sense? So I go and I find the raw stats, his plate appearances, everything. I calculated the WOBA myself, 739. And I was like,
wow.
And then I tweeted Fantasy Labs. I was like, yo, on your site it says that Bryce Harper has a WOBA of 309, but my calculations show a 739. And they're like, oh, it's the past 365 days. And I'm thinking to myself, how the hell does that make? Why would you label it under season if it's the past 365 days? That's a year, not a season.
Oh,
that's pretty misleading.
Exactly.
Is that my cue to start my rant? Okay, I'm not gonna do it. I gave it to you in the beginning of the show. That's why we need you all here. We need you with the Phenom. We need you with Sweatshop, man, so we can give you the real, man. That's what we.
And not only that came from one of the family members too. So it's like one of the Phenoms. Like we give you the opportunity to bring stuff like that to us, and we will figure it out with you. Like we're not here just pretending to be these so-called experts. We're all big family. Like we want to all collaborate and make the best lineups we can.
Yep. So it was just a funny thing to me. It was extremely misleading, but
it is. That was, yeah.
So here's my favorite stack of the day right here, man. And I think a lot of people are going to be off this now because Goldschmidt's out, and this is San Diego and Arizona. Chacin just pitched well against this team in San Diego, so factor that in. Pitchers Park. Now we're moving to one of the elite hitters parks. You got Zach Greinke on the hill. I believe these two actually were the pitchers in that game, and Greinke was balling until the 8th inning, gave up a home run to Eric Ibar. So I like not only Greinke, who is the highest pitcher on FanDuel, and I think he's going to be low owned. For one, that reason. Two, you have chalk, and three, it is in Arizona. And I love an Arizona stack against Chacin, man. I like Pollock, I like Peralta, I like Lamb, and here's a guy that typically we've talked about that has reverse splits, or not reverse splits. Yasmani Tomas has always killed lefties, always. Elite player as a one-off against lefties. But this year, he has really turned it around versus right-handed bats, and I really like him today. He is in that stack. He is the centerpiece of that stack, actually. If I was only going to roster one guy from Arizona, it's Yasmani Tomas.
Damn. I got him in my season-long league. I should probably put him in the starting lineup then, huh? He's one of my platoon players. I only put in there when he's playing lefties.
But I'm telling you, his numbers versus righties are actually almost better than lefties this year. Almost. They're not there yet.
He's definitely turned it on.
So maybe some that potential that we always knew he had coming over, maybe he's starting to flash that a little bit, find his swing a little bit. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the game, Mo? Do you like an Arizona stack? Do you like Greinke?
I'm like a parrot right now, man. I love Greinke 9.4. I think a couple of things are working in my favor with him. Number one, being priced up in that spot, I don't think he's going to see a ton of ownership. And also, playing the late game. Of course, this is a game that kicks off at what?
9 o'clock, 9:40 your time.
So you got to wait around and get your money. People don't want to do that. They want to win their money at 8 o'clock, at 7:05. I think we see low ownership on Greinke. I love him. I was already on Goldschmidt in this spot. I was already on him. And the fact that he's not there, it gives an increased love for me for guys like Jake Lamb, Yasmani Tomas, Peralta at 4K is a guy I really like. This is a stack for me, bro. Like, this is a simple stack for me. I'm not getting cute. We saw this team rack up 9 runs in one inning a few nights ago. The bats are hot. I don't see, what the trepidation would be with stacking Arizona.
Yep. Mike, what do you think?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I like Pollock and Peralta starting it off. Lamb right there too. I can get behind Tomas. Obviously, he's just a mean looking dude when he's in the batter's box. I'm just like, damn, why don't I have this guy in my stack? I don't want to be that guy. Wishing I had him.
So if I'm gonna start off with Pollock and Peralta, or even go Lamb and Tomas, I like both those two mans. We don't talk about two mans enough. I think two man stacks with Lamb and Tomas, Pollock and Peralta, you can go either way.
Yep.
If you don't want to get them all, and kind of just diversify, so to speak, with your money.
And for what it's worth, I think it goes without saying, because I like Greinke so much, I'm not on any Padre hitters. I think if you really want to go one-off, Ryan Schimpf is always home run or nothing. I mean, literally, he hits a home run or he strikes out. So another guy is Austin Hedges, who's been hot. Personally, I'm not going to go on him today, but like I said, if you want to attack Greinke, you can do it that way.
I agree.
Yeah.
So Toronto and the Angels. Now, Mo, here is my pitcher of the day, man. He's in every single one of my lineups, and that's Francisco Liriano. Every single one of my lineups. You talk about late slate, low ownership. You talk about he's higher priced than Amir Garrett. On FanDuel at least. Automatically, he's going to have less ownership because people can pay down to Garrett. People love seeing that they have more money to spend. You talk about Jason Vargas, right? Right around the same price. So, Francisco Liriano, man, all in. Angels have not been a good team this year. They are actually one of the teams that I like targeting for strikeouts at this point. Last year they struck out very few times, but this year has not been the same story. If there is a one-off on this Angels side I do like, it's Mike Trout. But other than that, that's it, man. I won't touch anyone on the Angels. I'm all in on Francisco Liriano. All in.
Well, this is a win-win situation for us because I am totally the opposite, man. I like a couple of the Angels bats. Mike Trout is my play of the day. Him and Cargo are going to be in either together or one of them going to be in every lineup that I roster. I also think that you can take a look at Cameron Maybin, Andrelton Simmons, and Albert Pujols, the old man, at 4.1. But to your point, though, if you don't like Francisco Liriano, you've got to feel how I feel, because he's still a stud quality pitcher. If you're not playing him, then you got to be playing guys against him.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He's that good.
Dude, look at his strikeout numbers. 10 Ks per 9 versus lefties. He averages 10 Ks per 9 in April. 9.5 versus righties is no slouch either. I mean, he still can get strikeouts. We've seen it before. I loved him in that bounce back game. So obviously when he was the chalk, he busted. Came back the next game against the Orioles, just mowed them down. Dude, I'm all over it.
Yeah, I like Liriano too. I think the K upside is something I'm becoming more and more accustomed to. Like, what pitchers on the slate strike people out? Because you're the strikeout pitcher, you pitch to the ground ball, you pitch to the contact. So Liriano has definitely been a strikeout pitcher his whole career.
Let me throw a point to that real quick, Mike. We talk about this all the time. Max Scherzer goes out. I mean, decent game last night. 3 earned runs, quality start, I guess. He still got 50-something points on FanDuel because he struck out so many batters. One strikeout erases an earned run. The net is 0. So if you're not going to have a pitcher that's going to get strikeouts, you're basically betting on him to throw a shutout.
Exactly. It doesn't make sense in DFS. So maybe they need to work on the scoring system. Obviously, it's a little bit different on DraftKings because they do penalize you for every hit and walk as well. So if you have a guy that's striking to punch people out, but he's also like leaving the bases loaded every game, maybe it won't equal a 2-hit shutout. But most of the time, the upside strikeouts equal upside with pitchers.
Absolutely.
Well, and if you have a guy like Liriano with this much strikeout potential, and he's a contrarian play, like that kind of, I think that puts you in a good spot as well too.
Bro, I'm telling you, you come in let's just say, I got a couple hitters, but I got Liriano. Obviously your pitcher is usually your highest scoring guy for the most part. You're betting on that. I have him. Let's say I'm sitting right around the cash line, and I have him coming in. Bam! I can skyrocket, man, because I know he's going to be low owned.
Now, speaking of contrarian play, what do you guys think of Jesse Chavez? They skipped his last start because they needed him for that long relief appearance. Kind of messed up their rotation for a little bit. Playing his former team, who happens to be the Toronto Blue Jays, who are not hitting very well. It's not the lineup that we're used to. I mean, look up and down this lineup here.
We're still waiting for the lineup to come in, by the way.
Well, I'm just saying, if you look at the numbers so far this season, They're not the Blue Jays that we're used to. And if you look at his pricing on DraftKings, this is the kicker. He's the same price as Amir Garrett. So, contrarian perspective, if you want to go there, I wouldn't hate it. I mean,
Mo, what do you think?
All right, a couple things work in the favor for me and what Mike just said. First thing, this is kind of go here with me. I might be jumping off a little bit, but a guy like this, a stud pitcher like this, we look at the point total is 7.5 is the Vegas line.
Oh, it's 7.5.
And a lot of times when you have a pitcher like Liriano that could hold the other team down in the way of scoring, you don't see that many runs being scored from the Toronto side or from the other side. Like say Kershaw, Kershaw's going out and he's pitching. You don't see the Dodgers score a lot of runs because they don't have to, because 3 runs wins the game.
there's no sense of urgency.
There's no sense of urgency. There's no reason to bunt this guy over and move this guy, and there's none of that, because you've got an ace pitcher that's going to shut it down. And I think that could be in play. And if that does work that way, then you see Jesse Chavez give us 7 innings of 1 run, 5 or 6 strikeouts at 6.7 K, and then Amir Garrett gets lit up. You're awesome. You're in a good spot.
Yeah.
For what it's
I think
worth,
it's
I just want to throw this in
you just
there real
have
quick. Sorry, Mike. Jesse
It's
Chavez
okay.
actually has a nice K projection today. So he, based on my numbers, he's projected to hit over 6 strikeouts today. This is all based on if he were to pitch 6 innings. So he would average a strikeout per inning. And let me just pull up the Toronto numbers. I want to see where they lead in strikeouts. They are bottom 8 in the league at 24.5%. And you look at these numbers here, Jesse Chavez, I mean, they're right around average, 8.5, 9. I mean, but that's plenty of strikeout potential, man, against a team that you mentioned hasn't been doing well. So there's potential there. I see some punt play. Obviously, his one weakness is the fly balls and home runs, but you have a pitcher spark.
And just to bring this full circle, I just wanted to say, on DraftKings, again, all you really need him to do is score more than Amir Garrett. And you're setting yourself apart. Again, they're the same price.
Yep.
So
It's a pure GPP play, absolutely, and it's against the chalk. So, and the good thing is if you play Chavez, you don't even have to stack, against another pitcher like we call that double dipping. You're just being contrarian in itself by just playing Chavez.
So and that's like a 24% K rate, right, for the Blue Jays as a team.
24.5%. Yeah, 1 out of every 4 batters strikes out.
And if you want to look at hard contact rate, see if when they do make contact, let's see where they're at. They are middle of the pack, so it doesn't really move the needle there. ISO is another stat I'm looking at as a team. Blue Jays, Toronto is a bottom 6 in ISO on the season.
Yeah, that's a sneaky play, bro. I like that. That is a sneaky play.
So
obviously, I wouldn't go 100% Jesse Chavez ever. Again, but he is playing his former team for what it's worth.
Ooh,
The dude is seemingly he's a pretty emotional guy. If you ever watch him on the mound, he's got like a sleeve and a mohawk, and he gets hyped up. Let's put it that way.
real quick, just because I remember watching this game late at night, was Jesse Chavez in the game when Jose Bautista hit that home run? Was it off him?
I don't know. In that long game?
Yeah, it was like 13 innings. That cost me money. I remember the game, but I don't remember if it was.
I think it might be. I think it might have been, because I know, again, that's the reason they skipped his start.
Yeah, because they pitched him that inning. So that was my only concern, but I don't know. Just something to watch. And lastly, we have the Los Angeles Doyers and the San Francisco Gigantes. That's Spanish for Giants. You have the wind blowing out 17 miles per hour to center. So that is not going to favor either. It's not going to actually penalize either hand. It's a big ballpark, but you have Matt Cain on the hill, and Matt Cain is a heavy fly ball pitcher. He loves watching the ball just right out of the ballpark. I don't know what happened to this guy, man. He pitched a perfect game and then died. So.
Oh shit! Oh shit! He died. He pitched a perfect game and died. That's funny as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, the wind is nice. I hopefully it stays that way. But I got a Dodger stack going right now, in most places. But
I generally don't like doing that in San Francisco, but it's like you said, it's Matt Cain. This guy's got 10+ home runs given up every single year of his career. He's had a surprising start to the season, but if you look past those numbers, he's got 12 strikeouts and 8 walks in 16 innings pitched. So that pretty much tells me that his control is
Still bad.
terrible at the moment, and his average fastball velocity at 89 miles an hour that just screams meatballs. So it might be raining meatballs in San Francisco today.
I'm
Vegetarian.
going to harken back to a few games ago. I think the first week of the season, maybe opening week, where we saw the Dodgers go out and score like 14 runs, man. And they're cheap. This is my favorite stack on the slate. I think pour them on me, baby. Give me all the Dodgers. I like them in every spot, bro. I'm waiting on the line to come out so I can go ahead and pencil in exactly who I'm going to be playing. But these left-handed bats against Matt Cain is something I really think. And see, to go a step further, how am I going to get the exposure to Coors, the couple of one-offs that I want? How am I going to get Mike Trout? How am I going to get Cargo? What I'm going to do is I'm going to stack the shit out of the Dodgers, grab 2 of those mid-level pitchers, and then get my one-offs from some of the plays that we already talked about. That's going to be, my base lineup construction for the night.
I like it. I like Toles.
Yeah.
I like Seager. I don't think is Peterson going to play.
That's what I was going to ask Maurice. What are your thoughts on Peterson? I think, what is it, a groin thing he's been dealing with?
Yes, and he's day-to-day, too.
And Puig.
And we still don't have that lineup, so.
You still got to look at Puig, Grandal hitting lefty. I mean, Adrian Gonzalez has really good career numbers versus Matt Cain, but he's a different player. If Chase Utley plays, don't play him, please. Chase Utley is a shell of his former self. I know he has 4 home runs career off Matt Cain. Chase Utley struggles to get it out of the infield at this point in his career, so I think people are going to look at that BVP and be on Chase Utley. I'm not on it at all.
Hell no.
I give so many people like side-eye when they say the word lock when it comes to DFS because we know there are no locks. There's no fucking lock, you know what I mean? But, bro, Corey Seager, man.
Dude, he's hot.
Yeah.
No, I want all of Toles, Turner. Toles at 2.8 on DraftKings. I mean, give me that punt if I'm going to stack the Dodgers.
He's 2.2 on FanDuel. That's 200 more than minimum salary. That was I plugged him in.
We don't talk enough about platoon guy and pricing. It's huge in DFS. If you're not on that strategy, you need to be.
That's a true point.
Platoon players and pricing is an extreme benefit as far as fitting it in. It just kind of fits your stack today. Like I said, Grandal, he bats better from the left side in his career. So I don't know. What about Adrian Gonzalez? Obviously a shell of himself, but he fits the stack.
I mean, he can get a couple. I mean, he can get a double or something. Maybe if he gets his legs like up in the air a little bit. I know he kind of like looks like a turtle when he runs now because he's just so slow. But I mean, if he hits it to Triple's alley, he might get to second base. So there's that.
He also takes your first base though. So
true.
I don't know. He is cheap.
Yeah, that's true.
He is very cheap. Base. At 3,600, I don't really know that there's anybody else around him that I even want to think about playing at that price.
I do got to say that is a huge point, Mike. I didn't even think about that. Platoon guys are always going to be mad cheap. And look at, for example, Chris Jimenez, Robinson Chirinos, those catchers, super punts. They're always going to be low owned. But when they play lefties, they're good plays. And I think Andrew Toles is going to fit that category as a split guy or the platoon guy. But what's great about him is he's going to play more often than not because he plays against righties.
That's right.
So how imperative is it to get first base right, man? Over the last few slates, man, you got to get first base right. Has been something, bro. Because there's so many great bats that we have at that first base spot.
Yeah, you have to get first base right.
Let's talk about it. It's the last game. Might as well go through it a little bit. I mean, no more Goldschmidt today. We talked about Rizzo as a one-off, but that's in Pittsburgh. I mean, I would make the case I'd rather play Votto or Zimmerman over Rizzo just because of the ballparks they're in, Milwaukee and Coors. Yeah. If you look at top prices.
I'm all over Votto, especially with Goldschmidt out. I think that it was an easy pivot. They're almost the same price on FanDuel.
Same.
And I was so on Goldschmidt, and I didn't want to pay up that 100 to Rizzo, but getting Votto 200 cheaper. That's the move for me. I like Votto in this spot. Votto, Zimmerman, that's where I'm going. I like those guys.
So real quick, just interesting. For what it's worth, Brandon Belt and Brandon Crawford hit lefties extremely well. Brandon Crawford's more regressing to the mean, but he's historically hit lefties better than righties. Brandon Belt at home versus lefties has a WOBA of 417, an ISO of 226. I know it's in San Francisco, but when blown out, Ryu I don't think is a good pitcher. I really don't think he's a good pitcher. Historically has struggled in April. Is that a contrarian play that you can get behind?
What, Ryu or
No,
Belt?
Belt. Not Ryu. Fuck Ryu. But Belt.
I was gonna say. I mean, I don't know about fuck him, but he's not contrarian.
I don't think.
Yeah,
Belt's
Belt
not
made me
good.
happy a couple of nights ago, so I like him.
Dodgers lineup just came in. Let me grab that. I'm going to edit it right now.
I was gonna say, I think Colorado is now confirmed. Or they have been.
Travis Jankowski was placed on the DL for what it's worth. So we have Tolles, Seager, Turner. Yasmani Grandal is going to bat fourth. Oh, man, dude. That makes sense.
So now you got him. You got Jimenez and Grandal the same price.
How are they the same price? You play Grandal over Jimenez, but actually, no,
Yeah, I'm talking about.
I don't know because Jimenez is in Texas and Grandal is in San Fran.
Exactly.
Right.
And people got all over this Dodgers stack today. If it doesn't hit, I mean, it's interesting. It's an interesting little way to go here.
Now, what do you think about Pence, man? I like Hunter Pence.
Yeah, dude, Pence hits
History.
lefties well.
Yeah.
He has good history versus him too. Good BVP, if you value that. Whoa! What are your thoughts? Okay, this is extremely interesting. Giants lineup just came out. Hunter Pence is leading off.
Ooh.
They finally just said Denard Span. All right, we're done with this.
Bro, I'm telling you, I love when teams do this. So we talk about Carlos Santana as a great leadoff guy for Cleveland. I cannot stress this enough. I hate when teams play a speed guy at leadoff just because he has speed. You cannot steal first base.
Yeah,
Get a
it
guy
needs
that's
to be
gonna
a high walks.
get a guy that's gonna get on. Drew Stubbs, what the fuck? When did we get him?
Dude, man, that Stubbs barbecue sauce. Y'all tried that? That stuff's bomb.
Did we call up? Hold on, I think we called up. We called up Christian Arroyo today, so he's gonna start. Interesting.
All right, enough jizzing over the Giants. Let's talk about.
You know what,
Some,
dude? I gotta say, I am so fucking happy there's not a Yankees game on today. I could not bear to do this show with two other Yankee fans, man.
I knew there was something about Monday night that made sense.
I could
It
not
is. It's
bear
true,
this,
man.
man. I deal enough with it in Slack with this Aaron Judge shit. Now, I'm so glad there's no Yankee game.
You just did it, man. You had to mention Aaron Judge. Here we go.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. It was now a session.
It's right. Sooner or later, that boy Aaron's gonna take you to Judgment Day, Kyle, and you're not gonna like when he steps to your door.
Shit.
It's a big dude.
I'll continue to ride Bryce. Bryce is my goat, right behind Barry Bonds.
So that's what you do at night. You ride Bryce. I didn't know that, man. Appreciate it. All right, Rob,
I love it.
he's
man.
got no comeback for that one.
I don't. I mean, I'll ride the Bryce train all night.
Oh shit!
I think we've hit pitchers to death. We've talked catchers to death. We pretty much were in that 3,200 range, right? First base. Any love for Hosmer? I mean, I know that he's
Nah.
not playing well
I gotta see
at all,
something before.
but you want to see something first. I think he goes in that same role. No real punts at first base either, though.
So let's do this. Let's do how we normally recap. I'll start with you, Mo. Give me your. How I do it is my favorite three pitchers, point to price ratio, not your highest scores, but who is the three pitchers that are going to score the most points for their price, so value essentially.
All right. First guy I've got is I'm going Vargas.
Okay.
I'm going Jason Vargas. Then I've got Amir Garrett and Brett Anderson.
Interesting. I like the Anderson play. Mike, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Archer, and I like Liriano as well. So I'll stick with that. But that's just because I'm contrarian in nature, and I feel like people are gonna be on Vargas. I think
if you're playing cash, I think he's the play today. I really do. All the numbers speak to Vargas. The price speaks to him. It's just, I'm not playing many lineups. I'm only playing tournaments, so I'm going to Liriano for the upside. And then, like I said, I mentioned Chavez for the same reason. I think I'd be on Garrett if this was cash, but same price. Let me get Chavez and play my couple lineups in some tournaments. See what happens.
Okay. My number one is Liriano. As you guys know, I'm being 100% honest right now. 100% Liriano. Every single one of my lines is Liriano. My second play is I'm going to go with Amir Garrett. I do like Amir Garrett today. And then my third play is going to be Jason Vargas. So, like I said, I'm not going to play the other two. Just how I'm building my lineups. But I'm going Liriano. So, all right, Mo, give me your top 3 stacks and who is in each of them.
Top 3 stacks. The number 1 is going to be the Dodgers. I'm going to attack Matt Cain with some lefties. I like Tolles. I like Seager. I am on Yasmani Grandal. And Puig is also a guy that I'm going to be taking advantage of. That's my favorite stack. Then I'm going to Arizona, where I like some of the guys that we talked about. I like Peralta. I like Jake Lamb, especially some Yasmani Tomas and A.J. Pollock. Those are guys that I like there. And the next stack is going to be the Cincinnati Reds. A lot of these guys I like. I love Billy Hamilton to get on base to steal a bag. Peraza is in a great spot. Joey Votto is probably my number 1 first baseman on the stick, so I've got to build around him in some way.
Yep.
And then you can go Duvall and Scott Schebler are guys that I really like a lot too.
I like it. Mike, who you got?
Stacks?
Yep.
I'll give you 2 that I really like, and then I'll get you a contrarian stack. So give me Cincinnati. Again, I will second that sentiment. I think we agree. No, I think Dodgers and Cincinnati are the 2 ways I'm going to go. I think for contrarian, I'm gonna look at Tampa Bay against Ubaldo. I don't know how contrarian it'll be, but because we haven't talked about them much today, and the fact that there's some rain concern, give me some Tampa. They've been swinging the bat well. They're in a hitter's park, so
I like it.
That's my contrarian stack for the day.
So I'm all on Arizona. That's my number 1 stack. Pollock, Peralta, Tomas, and Lamb. If I wanted to go 4. I love a Cincy stack. Votto, Duvall, Suarez, and Schebler. And lastly, I got a Dodgers stack of Toll, Seager, Grandal, and I can also get behind some Yasiel Puig.
Give me some, baby. You're on the same page.
Yeah. So, real quick, I wanted to show you guys. So if you have not... before we open the floor for questions, if you are new to the page, I just want to show you kind of the things we have here. So we've developed a formula, 2 things. First is this matchup WOBA. So for those of you familiar with WOBA, weighted on base, or not familiar, weighted on base percentage, it essentially is, in my opinion, the number 1 DFS stat because it weights home runs more than triples, triples more than doubles, etc., right? Just like DFS does. So the higher the WOBA, the better. And so what we've done is we've formulated a WOBA based on the batter's WOBA, the pitcher's WOBA, made up of 5 different situations. Compiled those, factored in BVP if there's a large enough sample size, and we've developed a matchup WOBA. So that, and it's all color coded for you. We also have the ISO, and we also have the ballpark. This is a made up stat, ballpark, WOBA, and ISO. It essentially highlights whether a park plays favorably to extra base hits. And to what hand as well. So if you look on these sheets, you'll see left hand and right hand. It tells you which side of the park it favors more. And then a huge shout out to Jeremy George, man. This guy is a stat genius. He has developed a formula that we are incorporating that projects home runs. Now let me give you some history on his numbers. The first game Alex Avila hit a home run, he was like 0.1% owned. Jeremy had him at a 57% chance. We've scaled the numbers to make them more relevant, but that was an original sample. 57% chance of hitting a home run. Goes out, he has him in his lineup, home run. A couple days ago, he had Travis Shaw and Eric Thames, both as the 2 highest home run projected guys. Both went out and hit a home run. So what we have done is compiled here, and this is access. You get this with access to the sheets. Percentage chance of home run. Now, please remember, when you look at some guys, you'll see Christian Walker for Arizona. Extremely small sample size. He's probably had like 1 or 2 at-bats. hit a home run or something, and so his numbers are going to pop off the chart. Remember to factor that in when you're looking at these, but it helps you really, really identify stacks, as also identify teams to target. So if you see a team that doesn't have a lot of dark green, you can stack against them. It's a powerful tool. So you look at the Chicago White Sox, for example. Look at how the only green players are Giovanni Soto and Matt Davidson. And then remember that Matt Davidson has an extremely small sample size. And who'd we talk about playing? Jason Vargas?
Mhm.
Look at that, right? And then everyone else down here is like under 10%. So it'll really help identify that. And then let's look at cores today. Nolan Arenado, 28.85% chance. Blackman, 18. Trevor Story, 30. Carlos Gonzalez, 29%. Don't be surprised if a Colorado stat goes off. Now, obviously, people may be like, oh, well, that's obvious. Today, yes, against Jacob Turner. But it's been a powerful tool. Jeremy has been extremely profitable over the last couple weeks. So if you guys are interested, obviously, like I mentioned, you get a 7-day free trial with this. But just
Dude, big shout out to Jeremy, man. He knows the stuff. He's happy to come forward and help anybody out too. This is what it's all about. So, again, all you guys, I know you guys are out there doing your own research, helping out, trying to build your lineups the smart way. We encourage you guys to get a part of this group and really get into this big collaboration process that we've started here. So,
and Maurice as well, man. If you guys aren't a part of the Sweatshop, check him out, man. He's got. I mean, this guy watches every single game. So. He has a really low price as well. What is it, $14.99 a month? Like you said, 2 quarters a day. So check him out as well, man.
2 quarters a day. That's right. That's right. Come check with me.
These are the 2 sites you want to be a part of, man. We'll give you the most real information.
That's right.
So, all right.
That's right.
Let's. We got 10 minutes until lock. Any last minute 1 questions, and 2, do you have any final thoughts, Maurice, on the slate? Like anything that really stands out to you after breaking it down?
Just coming to the realization, man. The way to build these lineups, man, is for me today, is to stack some Dodgers. Really take advantage of the one-off plays that we do like in cores. Don't try to go too heavy in cores. I think it's a lot to digest, and there's a couple of guys that I do like. Play who you like. Regardless of what you've heard here. Play who you like. Stick to your plays. And it'll all work itself out, man. And as pitching goes, I'm around the mid-level, but I do like some of the Liriano talk that we did have in here, and I'm changing lineup right now, throwing them in 1. So
yeah, I'm working through some stuff right now too.
Yeah, man, it's been an awesome show, man. I'm so happy to be a part of this thing, man. Thank y'all, man. This is dope.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you, man. Hell yeah.
We had some talk during the show. People were saying we need to do this more often, so we'll try and find some times to incorporate this.
That'd be fun.
Austin asks, who do you like as a second base one-off? As a one-off only, a guy who I think could be sneaky is Devon Travis. Not gonna say he's gonna hit a home run, but I can get behind that. Brandon Drury, if he's going to fit an Arizona stack, I can get behind that.
If everything goes well with this, with there's no weather here, and in this Baltimore game, again, I mentioned Jonathan Scope. Yep. If you look at the StatCast numbers against Archer, I don't know if you value those at all, but one of the top exit velocities versus any pitcher. He also hit a home run. 2 days ago?
He sees them well, obviously.
Yeah.
Miggy, Miggy. Who you got as a second base one-off?
Second base one-off. Let me see who I have here. I've got...
Odor. Odor. Someone mentioned Odor.
I was about to say, I don't know if he's going to be a one-off because I got him stacked in a couple spots. I do like a Texas stack, but I got to go Dozier, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got to go
Dozier. He's really the only guy I feel confident in this entire slate at second base.
Free to Kyle, these stats you have in the sheets are 3-year average. Yes, so they're running 3-year averages, meaning from 3 years back to today. So April 20, what is today, the 27th? 24th. So from April 24, 2017 to April 24, 2014. They're all 3-year running averages. But I do also include the 3 years versus season average. So in this sheet right here, you have the 3-year plate appearance and season plate appearance, and then the numbers for each if you wanted to compare. But there is no way to affect or to weight them for this year. Reason being is they're full splits. So like these numbers you see are away and versus the pitcher's hand, or at home and versus the pitcher's hand. Obviously, that's going to provide limited stats. So this year's stats really won't fall into these numbers until about July, when you see ample player sample. Any love for Kiki Hernandez on the Dodgers? Not as much. He's a lefty killer. I don't really like him versus righties, but it is still Matt Cain, so I guess you can look there as a cheap punt play. But for me, I don't see any reason why you don't just pay for tolls at 2,200 on FanDuel.
Yeah, I used him the other day, and I felt like I was stealing, and because he hit a jack real quick, so I liked him then, but not too much now.
Yeah, Scott Van Slyke was another one that did that. Jason wants to know, Mike, where do you find the StatCast data?
So there's a really cool site, guys, if you haven't seen. It's called baseballsavant.mlb.com. They have a daily matchups tab that goes through all the BVP and StatCast numbers for each individual batter versus each individual pitcher. It has everything from at-bats to, like I said, the StatCast numbers. So obviously you have to take them. So they have, for example, here, we got Adrian Gonzalez against Matt Cain. He has 17 hits and 52 at-bats for an average of 327. So not really a BVP I buy into just because, he's past his prime, right?
Yeah.
But then you look into it, and StatCast, again, has only been around since 2015, so it says, okay, out of these 14 hits, what do we have numbers on? And it says they've only have numbers on 4 batted ball events. So that, to me, tells me I can't look at the StatCast number. But a guy like Manny Machado, who has StatCast numbers on 13 of his batted ball events, that's something I can take more stake into. But yeah, again, the site is baseballsavant.mlb.com. So I guess it's part of MLB.com. I'll post it. I posted in the research links tab before, but I will do that again on Slack.
Real quick, Dexter Pope. I know Mo. He's from the Sweatshop. Mentioned that, but he said the Kiki play was in the 8th spot, and the only reason I do like that strategy. Only reason that I wouldn't roster him is because, like I said, Andrew Tolles not only is leading off, but is just as cheap. And so had the leadoff hitter been like Jock Peterson and he's at like 3.5 salary, then yeah, you can get behind a punt play. But you essentially have a punt play hitting in the 1 spot, and that's almost a guaranteed extra at bat and pitches. So that's the reason I'm not on Kiki. Courtney asked, do we like Gonzalez over Puig? No.
Adrian Gonzalez?
Yeah, I mean...
Or Carlos Gonzalez?
Oh.
I like Carlos Gonzalez over Puig.
Yes.
But Adrian...
Gonzalez, no.
Yeah. I do like his price, though. Like I said, I think Adrian Gonzalez's price, again, that's what you're left with here on DraftKings, there's really nobody else that I want to play in the mid 3,000 range, except for perhaps a Brandon Belt.
Pilar is sneaky as well, leading off for the Jays. I mentioned that the other day. He is at home in this leadoff spot, man. He's a natural leadoff hitter, and for whatever reason, They had him not batting leadoff, and he struggled. The dude excels as a leadoff hitter, and I love him in the leadoff spot. Mo.
Yeah, do we have an update on this Baltimore game, real quick?
I was just about to say that. I was just about to ask that.
Let's see what Roto Grinders has. I mean,
I just made a whole bunch of changes to my lineup, thinking that this game wasn't going to play.
Let's see. Yeah, we got 10 minutes. Real quick, Peralta or Pollock or Hamilton or Duval for outfielder, if you had to pick one. You know what? This game looks like it is... Wow, that is the wrong date. How the fuck is it on April 21st?
I think I would rather... So you're saying Cincinnati... So you said Duval and Hamilton?
Peralta, Pollock, Hamilton, or Duval for your outfield. One play.
I thought he meant like 2 and 2 or the other two, since they're both like a stack. So if you're saying stack, I think I'd go with the 1-2 punch with Pollock and Peralta. If I want to play one guy out of all those guys, I don't know. I feel like I'd rather play Duval.
Okay.
As like a one-off.
Real quick, it looks like we have still about a 60% chance of rain at game time, and then or right before game time. It looks like it's going to have a little dry spot for 2 hours, only 11% chance between 8 and 9. But then it does look like it'll pick back up right towards the end of the game. So if they can get that in that window, there is that. Maybe the potential for a shortened game. So I think they're still risking it, but it does look like it's going to at least attempt to play.
Thanks. Weatherman
Yeah.
Kyle, man, bringing it
There
in.
it is.
Pitchers for DK. I'll let you two answer this. Do you like Vargas, Greinke, or Archer Vargas, or Vargas Garrett? So pick one of those two stacks: Vargas Greinke, Archer Vargas, Vargas Garrett.
You can go ahead, Mo.
I'm gonna do a little better than just pick 'em. I'm gonna tell you who I got. I got Vargas Greinke.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's where I would go too, because Archer, again, we just talked about why that play, and then I think Vargas Garrett is a cash. Is gonna be the ownership on DraftKings today, or it should be. I mean, based on if people value recent performance, yeah, I think that's where it'll be at today. But yeah, I like Vargas play. Greinke made me some money last time he went out, and I liked Archer, so I'm thinking about just pivoting to Greinke and then pivoting to Liriano as well. But I talked myself into some Chavez, so I don't know. I'm fucking with it right now, trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Like, you know what? Chavez is the same price as Garrett.
Exactly.
I'm going Chavez.
Telling you, contrarian, man. I know, Mo, you're a tournament-only player as well, so you talk about being contrarian, man.
And there's you taught me into the whole thing with Toronto and LA. You know, if this game starts to be a little slow, maybe you can run both these guys on DraftKings, hope for a pitcher's duel, but it's a very unlikely pitcher's duel. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But then again, what did we see the other day in Texas? We had the highest implied total of the day with who are the two pitchers? Texas and Kansas City.
Yeah.
We thought that game was going to be lit, and it ended up going to the 13th
And it wasn't.
with
Yeah.
no runs.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't.
oh man.
I had Texas
Toronto and LA, for what it's worth, if you look at runs per game this season, you're looking at a combined 6.5.
That's what I'm saying, man. Neither of these teams are great right now, especially not the offense. The Angels are Mike Trout right now. I don't think Pujols, if he continues like this, I don't think he has any chance. I mean, there was a lot of talk. Is he going to have a chance at that home run record? There's no chance, man. He has no lift in the ball at all right now.
Who's that?
Albert Pujols.
Yeah, he's got his legs back on him first.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know I could see it happening, and it'll allow you to get some Coors exposure.
I actually, you know what's funny? I have zero exposure to that game right now. Is that crazy?
I tried to force in a one-off.
I don't have any.
I think I'm gonna go Blackman, just because he's leading off. He's got that lefty matchup. He hasn't been terrible this season. He's got 5 home runs on the year, so it's kind of proving that his speed power thing, it wasn't just a couple of years in a row. You mean? So yeah, I don't know. He's the guy I'm going for. He's got looks at this. He's got a double, 2 triples, and 2 homers in his last 3 games.
Okay.
So he pretty much torched San Francisco.
All right. Well, thank you again to Mo for hopping on the show. Appreciate having you, buddy. It was a lot of fun.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all, man.
Thank you guys all for joining the show with us. Hopefully, we got you away from Roto Grinders, help you guys make some solid picks. As always, man, like I said, the best idea is to listen to, not even to say we're experts, but just real plays. Like, we're not going to try and mislead you. I'm not going to sit here and say, Mo, Mike, or I are so-called experts. There's some of these guys that win a lot more money than us that join the group, but we're just here to give you real advice. We're not going to try and we're not going to try and create chalk and things like that and skew numbers. So you got
exactly. That's what I was saying off top. We're real. We're talking about what we're doing. I'm literally telling you right now what I'm doing with my lineup. And it's a lot of fun. I think that's why people come rock with us. We rock with you, Mo, because we like having fun, and real recognizes real, man. It goes back just to that.
Most def.
So, all right, guys. Well, thank you very much. Good luck today, and we will talk to you all later.